Hello everyone, System Chalk here with the 64th episode of the Apostle Obsonate playthrough as I upscribe, and now the video has started loading. It's been a little while, so I'm going to take a second and review my current state of things. I seem to remember I locked in some decisions to avoid me from making any severe mistakes. So I've got a sharp edge lantern thing. I think this was to recover the hint, if I'm not mistaken. We're destroying evidence, and I think we have another season of suspicion coming up. No, it's... okay, I remember what happened. So, we're going to be contending with a season of visions. I was summoning the sharp edge lantern thing to avoid an extra fascination. Looks like we are going to be getting the fascination from the Dream of the End anyway, unless we can somehow wind up with some dread. Perhaps, seeing as our studies have been balked, maybe we could consider reading Sunset Passages and maybe the Ivory Book. So that will potentially get us some dread that will help us mellow out the fascination. In the meantime, considering a hireling, not too worried about that, although... Nope, that's fine. Sorry, I thought for some reason I sent a moth follower, but that wouldn't make any sense for a number of reasons. And... the rest... Wait a minute, why did I lose the research? Because this is just fresh. Okay. I know where we're at now. Okay, so main plans for this session will be, if I can, to try and get through as much of my reading list as I can. We do need to quiet the notoriety. I've got 3 more. Now, I can paint with these, so, you know, there's a little bit of a division, right? We're doing okay for money, but not fantastic. So the question would be, is 6 funds going to get me through the day, or will get me through the point where I can get rid of the notoriety, or do I want to paint with some of this and turn it into, turn it into money? And of course, one of the other drawbacks is that the more that I do this, the more likely I'm going to get Mystique, which means, of course, that the Heart followers are going to have a harder time pulling it out. I think I'm going to make an effort to make the funds work, but we'll see how it all goes. Let's jump ahead. I await word from tampering with records. I'm much recovered. More than that, I'm sumptuous. The sclera of my eyes, the veins in my wrists are aswim with gorgeous serums. When the vitulation comes, I will be the centerpiece for our delight to prove their appetite, to enact the grail. And, alright, so these forbidden epics can't go back into the normal stack because there's only one more challenge left for them. Alright, and again, I just wanted to double check that there's no fleeting reminiscence or anything like that for me to deal with. There is not. So I suppose the next question would be, do I feel comfortable going into the dream world? Yes, actually. Well, I'll need to... actually, now that I think of it. So maybe I'll send a Forge follower off to deal with the cracked Wildering Mirror, at which point perhaps I should consider another painting round. Yeah, my timings aren't going to work well. So unfortunately, because I didn't repair the cracked Wildering Mirror, I have to... I'm not going to be able to go through the Peacock door. Now, had I done that, I could have gone to the Worm Museum, and one of 2 things would have happened. I would have gotten lore that I'm looking for, or I would have, gotten the... I would have gotten dread, which of course could have been used to deal with the fascination. But no point in dwelling too much on something that I can't work with. So we've got the Ivory Book and the... Why do I have the feeling that neither of these are going to do what I want? Let's read Sunset Passages, a holy text of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, in which many histories were driven underground in Latin. So, start the translation, lock the study door, the work begins. And let's go through... I guess we can go through the stag door again. Better not, I must be careful of the company I keep. Okay. So we don't want to generate any more. We don't want to generate any more notoriety with expeditions. I could, of course, follow through on the unresolved ambiguities just to, see what's available. Of course, if I'm really worried about my financial position, there's a bunch of, there's all the techs that I've been holding to turn into cash. Originally, I didn't convert these at the time because I had the long, and the long would occasionally pick my pocket. This is a nice little way of keeping things, in reasonable safety. There's less of a reason for me to do that right now, but I'm still kind of hesitant to go to Oriflammes and sell stuff, just because I always feel like I should be doing better things with my time. In fact, one thing I might be able to do, I'm trying to remember if I can get a fleeting reminiscence from the Street Strange by Moonlight. I don't think I can, but I do think I can get Fascination, which maybe isn't the done thing. So perhaps we'll just leave that be for now. But that returns me to the old question, what do I want to do with the Explore verb? I'm also just trying to think if there's something that I would want to provoke from certain aspects. Okay, well, in the absence of anything better to do, I think I'm going to wind up going to Oriflammes anyway. Let's sell off the jumble, and we'll see what we get for it. So this oddity is probably worth something, but it's hard to be sure. And how did the Callagine do? My minion has returned. The evidence has been destroyed. I'm a little safer. Okay, well, I'm feeling good about that. Not the... You know what, the first thing I should do... So I wanted to kind of talk with Count Jannings and Madame Bichet, but the fact of the matter is I'm not going to be turning in any commissions until after I deal with the notoriety. So let's take my talk verb, and we'll start by getting... some repairs done. We can begin to repair this, but it will take at least a bronze Spintrea to purchase the necessary materials. Of course, that's the Spintrea we have the most of, so I'm not too worried about that. Also not worried about the rising heat. The Callagines are the ones that are the safest to get rid of. Also relatively easy to summon again, just in terms of the materials that I have and the influence that I can get. It'd be nice to hang on to a bunch of, it would obviously be nice to hang on to a bunch of summons, but because I'm not going to be using them for the next little while, I'm not gonna do too much to keep them. The Auctioneer's Gamble bangs, my item has sold. So let's jump back to the jumble. Again, I'm not quite sure I'm gonna liquidate all of the, I'm not sure I'm gonna liquidate everything that I have here, but we'll at least get rid of some of the obvious ones. Okay. So Season of Ambitions is coming up. That's going to be a bit of a problem just because we got the Savorous Blood fairly recently. Of course, in this circumstance, I would probably find it a little bit easier to... In this circumstance, I'd probably find it a little bit easier to just let it tick down and turn into dread, but that's too long to wait. We'll probably be generating something that turns into fascination. But the summoning is struggling against my control. I could use reason to dismiss it safely, which is always reliable, or I could try to reassert control with passion, which is not reliable. Or I could let what will happen, happen. So we will use reason to get rid of it. I believe in this case we still have the influence, and in that case I'm just going to have to convert it with... I'm sorry, what am I trying to say? The study verb... I do not remember what Lantern subverts into. Anyways, we will be able to convert it into something else, which is one possible way that we can avoid the consequences. Okay, if I'm feeling risky, I can try for a Secret Histories. If I want safety, I can let the Subtle Rupture vanish. Let's do the Ascent of Knives. Yeah, so just as well we didn't do the Painted River. The Urgency of Appetite's not really going to get me anything, but it's not a problem either. The Ascent of Knives is called the Sharp Stair, the Mother of Mirrors, and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair, as I did last night in my dreams, one understands the last name. It draws a tithe of blood from the feet of those who ascend. Impausi, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stairs to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach. I made no sound. I only observed. Okay, so we've done the reading. Let's read the sunset passages, a miscellany of funerary prayers, ceremonies, and hymns of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, which was ascendant in the third and fourth histories. It schismed during the intercalate, when the sun was divided, and it has not survived as a significant force. The Church revered the sun in splendor before it was divided, but even when it was still whole, its later selves were recognized as its names. The Madrigard, of course, presided over death and the passage into the house. Okay. And again, I'll deal with the Forbidden Epics later. What else do I want to do dream-wise? Let's try a reason dream. There was once a man who said that the sleep of reason produced monsters. Often it is healthy to let the mind wander in sleep, but if I keep dreaming, sooner or later some sort of monster will rise from my own fears. Alright, more money from the jumble. Still don't have any good exploration. Well, let's hunt for treasures in the Rending Mountains. The Rending Mountains, it has been said, tear the flesh of history. It has generally only been said by people like Christopher Alopoli, but still, they're a good region to find places that daylight history does not recognize. So again, we get another rising heat out of this. The follower needs a bronze spintrea or better to complete their task. My follower is at work on the mirror. It's gone, we are safe. Alright, so we've got the constant consciousness of radius. This is quite dangerous to me because within a minute it's going to turn into something damaging. There's a light behind the world, a light above the mantis, a light that penetrates both glass and skin. It is present here. So, out of curiosity, let's see if there's anything I can do with a... The sudden rags brings beautiful endings. This sudden and perilous magic will end someone or something, but it's impossible to know what. It will also kill any mortal or spirit that assists with the ritual. You're calling only a minor degree of winter, so this will often fail. Call on at least 10 winter to increase your chances, although it might in fact be safer if it does fail. So, I had to think about the timings on this. Because I do sort of want to see how I can subvert the consciousness of radiance. Okay, I'm going to wait 40 seconds. And again, I'm kind of hoping I get unlucky with this one. And, I mean, 2 fascination isn't the end of the world, to be completely honest, but... Let's see if the winter text pays off. Okay, so we've got the mirror, which is good. We gotta wait 20 seconds to finish the Wandering Mind. We've got the passage of time, so we can get some contentment out of that. But the bigger question is, what do I do with my talk verb? So we've repaired things. I suppose it's time for me to start using the heart followers. So we'll send you out on the Order of the Bloody Cup charm mission. Not everybody is sympathetic to our aims, but if we have problems with our reputation, our disciple can probably smooth them over. Okay. So 230 seconds or so, and we'll be able to... We'll have some dread that we can use in the work. Alright. The white ceremony is spoken to honor the madrigard at funerals held in the chilly space before dawn. The text cautions that all blades should remain sheathed while the ceremony is spoken, lest the corpse not be quiet. Okay, so first thing I want to check is this subversion. Oh, interesting. Magus Julian Cosley claims that the Forge of Days split the sun. Perhaps he was right. This will create Forge influence instead of Lantern. Perfect. I had a slight hope. I didn't want to say it aloud in case I shattered it. Okay, so we've, true to our nature, used our occult knowledge to get by without doing anything too careless. But it does raise the question in terms of what I'm going to do for money. So right now I'm going to continue on with the unskilled labor. Again, the danger of mystique at the moment is that, or of painting at the moment, is that I may generate mystique, and of course I'll leave the notoriety on the table for longer. So in this case, it's sort of a bit of a pain period while I try and get my my very lucrative job back. And we have found the Mausoleum of Wolves in the Rending Mountains. First, we will go and find another one. Moment of consequence. Now potencies and potentialities align. Light yields to heat. So we have a trembling heat. Now, if I wanted, I could actually turn that into a. A Callagine, I think, and the light in the skull. Wherever the principle of lantern sheds its light, I recall additional scraps of knowledge. So I am going to try the Ivory Book again. I suspect probably we need to start reading stuff like How the End Will Begin. You know what? I figure anything called How the End Will Begin is the most likely source of dread. So a book of bleak prophecy. Lock the study door, the work begins. I was thinking maybe one of the... I think probably I forgot I had that How the End Will Begin, because I know fascination is also a potential outcome from reading very high-level books. But I feel like this is not a bad example. All right, thank you, Cleansing Dawn. Now I can slough off my flesh, patch by patch, tugging the tendons free like fibers picked from teeth. My skin lies like a shredded blanket. The sun heaves itself above the horizon with a triumphant battle yell. The light falls like acid on my naked bones. Pain will wake me, and my bones will ache for days, but the sun's words are etched on my bones. Okay, so I either need to mind my manners for 206 seconds, or I need to really figure out what I'm about here. I think probably converting this intensity of radiance... Oh, you know what? I'm gonna miss it by a few seconds. Well, not exactly. I could probably use it as an input. Oh, hang on. No. We've got our way to the Peacock Door now. In my dreams, I know the path through the glass garden to the Peacock's Door, the most admirable of doors, the door which shines like a mirror. Perhaps with the right resources, I can pass it. I'll be very upset if I wind up tripping over a fascination loss in this playthrough. But yeah, so the plan will be go to the Worm Museum. That's our most likely source. All right, so got some erudition to show for our trouble. Do what I can to subvert the intensity of radiance when I can. Or probably the next lower level. Day is done, but so am I. I've earned... and so am I, but I've earned my pay. I think we're just going to keep on... this path for now. Backbreaking work for meager pay. Is this the best that I can do? For now, yes. We found the Hunter's Pits, and let's go do the Unresolved Ambiguity. The last unresolved ambiguity. I sometimes like to keep one of each lore on the table. It's just a personal thing. It's not. There's no game reason for it. It just looks nice. But obviously in this case here, I want to try and make some progress. Okay, so let's get Clovette. Let's talk about reputation again. The nice thing here is there's only one mystique to be kicking around right now, so. Okay, so the really tough part here, so this Rising Heat is level 2. In 7.9 seconds, the intensity of radiance is going to turn into the level 2 influence. So where I am near certain I'm going to get a dread out of reading how the end will begin, the big challenge that I face right now is that I can't cut myself off from converting. Actually, one thing I'll maybe just double check. So it will want... Yeah, it does want the Trembling Heat. So basically, let's think what happens here. If I take a minute to read, well, we've got 58 seconds left on the Rising Heat, so if I take a minute, the Rising Heat goes away. The intensity of radiance still sticks around. The intensity of radiance, well, after it decays into the lower level, then it turns into Fascination. Then I get my third Fascination, and it's all over. I get one of the dread to maybe move it down one. That's assuming that how the end will begin does turn out the way I think it does. So obviously here I want to leave the study verb open. I want to address what's going to emerge out of these influence first, and then we will, basically all of this is about buying us some time. And then of course the nice thing is that the longer that it takes, eventually the delightful blood will sour, and we'll have some dread to mellow things out too. But at this point here, I want to be very careful in terms of how I'm spending my time, because one wrong step can be something that will end the playthrough, and I don't really have any escape for. So we'll take the formula concursive again, subvert the lantern influence. Okay, so I could get an unresolved ambiguity. That's actually still helpful for me, but again, we want to go into the Worm Museum because dread is actually helpful for us right now. Okay, fair enough. Perfect Frost. The world is still as ice. Each movement is a journey. A 15th order influence. This might be the personal attention of an hour. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. If unused, it will become dread. Last night, I visited the Worm Museum, which is both within the Mansis for security and without for safety. The Hours have charged the Colonel with its defense, and even the Lionsmith does not challenge him here. Winter is the chiefest aspect of this place. The worms thrive where things end, but they can also be ended, and they must if the Mansis is to endure. This morning, the chilly certainty of the Colonel's hand still lies on my shoulder. So we'll have to talk with our follower about getting the mirror repaired. And I think I've gone quite a bit further than I wanted to today. Well, in terms of time, obviously, progress-wise, we're a little bit mixed. So I'm going to have to end it there. Again, I'm sorry for having these things run over 20 minutes. I know some of you like the longer ones, but I also know that people like smaller videos. So we'll continue on along these lines on Friday's broadcast. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for those who've subscribed. If you haven't already, please consider doing so. And I do enjoy the comments and the likes. I do read them all, and it helps me get noticed. So have a good evening, and we'll see you on Friday.